To begin with the beginning, this conversation is actually part of a DVD publication, Point of View, commissioned by Caroline Bourgeois and Helene Kurz. And this whole idea actually of making, through this DVD publication, sort of an ubiquity of film possible, sort of not only in exhibitions but in a much broader way, also in sort of educational context. And you, for this context, realized an amazing piece, actually El Gringo.
I think I tried to find, because part of the, in this case, first in particular, the invitation had to do so much with the kind of video medium or movie medium. I suppose I tried to find an answer that was somewhere addressing the tool. I mean, I'm not somebody who's obsessed with video or painting or drawing or any specific medium. I mean, I tend to kind of, I'm quite hybrid in terms of the use of medium, mostly because I'm not trained as in one medium in particular. I mean, I'm entered the art field a little bit by accident, and I start working mostly through mix of notes, drawings, quotes sometimes, and along that process usually the medium defines itself. Nevertheless, I mean, I do use quite a bit the camera, whether it's to take photos or to do videos, and often the camera becomes a kind of filter with a situation I feel foreign to, like when I'm in the condition of like as a kind of outsider. The camera offers a kind of like nice kind of protection. It's a mix of protection and justification, for ambiguous as it can be, of my presence in that place at that moment. In the case of the Gringo, I kind of, if you want, invented a little story to try kind of illustrate the paradoxes of that that tool, if you want. Putting myself in a situation where, in a quite narrative way, the camera was the main protagonist, together with the dogs and that kind of the context. I mean, I as a as a protagonist, I try to disappear as much as I can. I mean, I'm trying to build a character with the camera who's going to be confronted in a situation with some kind of like an adversaire, sorry? Adversary. And where I'm using the camera both as a kind of shield, un escudo, un bouclier, and an aggressive element like a bâton, a weapon. I mean, in the sense that the camera becomes my tool to kind of keep away the aggression.
One of the things I earlier was very curious if you could tell us more about is this notion of the rumor. I was very interested in this idea when you spoke last night about the way how this piece, how the story of this piece came about, that it happened a lot through talking, through conversations with people who basically told you that in this city there might be more dogs. I mean, and I was wondering in several things in that. The one notion is the notion of the invisible city, I mean how a rumor works, and on the other hand the idea of the conversation, the importance of conversations within the working process.
Right. I mean, it's kind of two different levels. I mean, the rumor itself is something I've been working on. I mean, if you were talking about not fully realized projects, even though I've done some rumor projects, but on a very minor scale, like in some small towns in Mexico, but more as a kind of like working process and trying to understand what are the mechanics of a rumor. And say, in most of my projects, I'm interested in trying to have the piece functioning at two levels. One level is the reality of the piece itself. I mean, I'm interested in doing it. And that's an action that's going to happen at a certain time, at a certain place, with a certain kind of protagonist involved, or just myself. But in parallel to that, I'm interested in diffusing, usually through postcards or any relevant means, a kind of circulating rumor of the piece. The key there is to keep the story simple enough that it can be repeated orally. I mean, word by mouth, mouth by word, bouche à oreille. Without the need to having seen the piece. So, I mean, we're talking there in a kind of like three-line scenario. The piece can be told over kind of dinner, saying, oh, there's this guy who's been kind of taking a different drug every day for 7 days in Copenhagen. It's obvious that there's no need to have access to a visual image of that performance or experience or whatever you want to call it.